Hello?
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 I'm calling you from your account. You will lose your account. You will lose your account. But I can help you. Just give me your password, your card number, and your PIN number.
Okay. My card number is 1.
No go for my God, no go lose that, make you no start, go for your hand, yeah. See I see why you're plenty, they wanna do you dirty, they wanna make you envy, they wanna see you fat, no go for my God. Listen, Babylon people wait. You also when you grind and then we be hating. They send you fake verificate. They wanna wipe your Instagram for nothing. Protect your email, different password for everything. You download drag software for free. When you know say my guy you for feed pay. This is risky. Protect your money. No give anybody. Password or OTP. Make them no chop you. No go for my God. No go lose God. Make you no start. Go for your hand. Yeah. See I see why you're plenty. They wanna do you dirty. They wanna make you envy. They wanna see you fat. No go for my God.
See my brother no go come. If they ask for your CVV, no go drop palm. If anybody tell you say hey I'm calling from the bank, can you send me your PV and make you block come? Come up back body world more bill. If they want you pin, tell them no will. NCDC know they share free money. Make you no go carry mulatro will or the go bill. Protect your password. Use two factor, make your account no go actor. And make you know they click links that you can't trust. Or you go receive a lot you can't account for. No go for my God.
No go lose God, make you no start, go for your hand, yeah. See I see why you're plenty, they wanna do you dirty, they wanna make you envy, they wanna see you fat, no go for my God.
I'm a big dog. My God. I get a big job. My God. You want to try me? My God. Let it behind me. My God. Wait first. They be like police in my gate. Wait first. I dey come first.
Good evening, everyone, and welcome to this exciting webinar. And I'm very excited to welcome you. My name is Confidence Stavely. I'm here with someone who's definitely going to be dissecting our subject of conversation today. So while we wait for a couple more people to join, we are going to play that video one last time. We've just launched it on social media, and please do well to share the links. We're going to be sharing the link on this webinar, but do well to go online and also share with your following or your followers on Twitter, on Facebook, and every other platform that you can share this link. So I'm going to play it one last time while we wait for some more people to join us. Thank you.
Hello?
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 Hello? I'm calling you from your account. You will lose your account. You will lose your account. But I can help you. Just give me your password, your card number, and your PIN number.
Okay. My card number is 1.
No go for my God, no go lose God, make you no start, go for your hand, yeah. See I see why you're plenty, they wanna do you dirty, body. Password, password, or OTP. Make them no chop you. No go for my God. No go lose God. Make you no start. No for your hand. Yeah, 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 yeah. See, I see why you're plenty. They wanna do you dirty. They wanna make you envy. They wanna see you flex. No go for my God.
See my brother no go got calm. If they ask for your CVV, no go drop palm. If anybody tell you say hey I'm calling from the bank, can you send me your PV and make you block calm? Come up back by the world more bill. If they want you pin, tell them no will. NCDC know they share free money. Make you no go carry mulatro will or the go bill. Protect your password. Use two factor, make your account no go act up. And make you know they click links that you can't trust. Or you go receive a lot you can't account for. No go for my God.
No go lose God. Make you no start. No for your hand. Yeah, 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 yeah. See, I see why you're plenty. They wanna do you dirty. They wanna make you envy. They wanna see you flex. No go for my God.
I'm a big boy, my God. I get a big toe, my God. You want to try me, my God. Now you they hide me, my God. Wait first. They be like police in my gate. Wait first. I dey come first.
Olamide, I can see that you're dancing. Well,
It's a very catchy tune, and that's good
yeah.
because it allows the lyrics to stick in your head, and the time you keep listening to it and you have the lyrics sinking in, you get the direct message of what the video is trying to pass across. So it's a very good one, very fantastic. I'm very happy to at least to be one of the very first people to have watched it. So it's a good one. Congratulations again.
Thank you very much. So let me just get everyone on the same page with us about the conversation we're going to be having. I can see that it's going to be so engaging. We are discussing protecting children from online sexual exploitation. And my guest today is Olamide Udeneye. Olamide, please, just forgive me if I just murder your last name. We are going to get some sort of reconciliation after. But basically, we know that the coronavirus pandemic has led to an unintended consequence of having kids spend more time online. In fact, the UNICEF estimates that more than 1.5 billion children and young people have been affected by school closures worldwide. As a result, they have had to leverage digital technology to provide continual access to learning. Now, even as schools open and reopen, and again with the answers have to close and reopen again, several other factors inclusive, we've seen that a good number of children will still continue to receive online facilitated learning or access to resources. Now, as children spend more time online for learning or accessing resources, this increases their risk of exposure to online sexual exploitation. In fact, the New York Times reported last year that tech companies identified over 45 million online photos and videos of children being sexually abused. Now, that's huge. Now, with the world being a global village, the problem of online sexual exploitation of children is not just an issue with the West. Internet access can make any child, even in Nigeria, a target or a victim. We hope not. And that's why we've set up this webinar. So this webinar seeks to explore the ways children can be protected from online sexual exploitation. And we're going to provide clarity on the following. We're going to talk about child sexual exploitation, what it means, statistics. We're going to explain the different acts that our children could be exposed to. Hopefully with the information we get here, we can then take it an action and make sure that our children are protected. We're going to be discussing the role of internet in child sexual exploitation, how sexual predators stalk children, and of course ways, very strongly, preventive measures, ways that we can stop this from happening. We're going to be doing this really short time, really quick, and if you have your questions, please drop them in the chat box using the question icon. But before we go any further, we have, like I said, someone who is awesome at this. She's the convener of Child Online Safety. Please make welcome with a rousing applause, Olamide Odeneye. Welcome.
Thank you. Good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for having me. This topic. You know, for the last 3 days or 4 days, the ITU has been pushing child online protection guidelines. They've been doing like a train the trainers for child online protection in Africa. That's what we've been doing for the last 4 days. And you know, this particular topic keeps coming up. You know, it just keeps coming up. So this is not an isolated topic. It's not isolated at all. This is what is going on globally and around the world. So I'm very excited to be talking about this today. So if you're a parent here, fantastic. If you're an educator, that's great. Even if you are not a parent and educator, but you are a concerned adult, you know, there's a place for concerned adults. That too is very, very good. I'm happy that you're here. And I'm sure by the time we finish this discussion, you will see how quickly we can all put our hands on deck to ensure that, you know, we keep our children safe. Now, did you know that these are statistics that just came from the event that we just held this week, that they saw a jump in the use of internet. 31% of African users, internet users, active internet users, 31% are children. 31% of them are children.
Wow.
As a parent, I'm telling you, 31%, there was that jump. Immediately, like you said, the COVID era, you know, just put all children online. So 31% of active internet users in Africa are children. In Nigeria alone, I can't even tell you the statistics. And you'll be shocked that parents have no idea. 20% of children are already on social media. A lot of parents have no idea. They don't even know that their children are on social media, talk less of following them. So by the time we are done with our discussions, we'll see some preventive measures, things that we can quickly start to put in place to ensure that our children don't fall victim. So once again, thank you very much. Good evening. You're all welcome. So if you have questions, like Confidence has said, we can put them in the chat box. I have some slides that I've prepared, so we'll just go on to that. I'm trying to put it up. Okay, fantastic. Okay, so that's the topic there, protecting children from sexual online exploitation. That's our topic for today. Okay, so what is CSE? What is child sexual exploitation? It's just a form of sexual abuse where offenders use their power. So whatever power that they have, it could be physical, it could be financial, it could be coming from an emotional point over a child or a young person. I will have you know that these offenses can start as early as the age of 5, where they can trust a smartphone in the hands of a child. And right now, it's not just a child within a household. It could be any child anywhere. So any child or a young person or a false identity to sexually and emotionally abuse them. It's a threat to children of all ages. So there is no child that is exempt. So we're not saying, oh, but this child is just young, is age 6. There's no need. No. A child of any age. We have sexually explicit images of children as early as 6 months old. You have those images flying everywhere. We'll get to that. So a child of any age, a child of any background. We're not saying, okay, because he's coming from this part of the world or because he lives in Nigeria or anything. Any child, any age, any background. And it involves a situation where a child is receiving something in return. So it could be food. It could be drugs. It could be cash. It could be affection. That is why that emotional part is there. It could be anything. And it can occur in person or online. But we're going to look at the two side by side. Because at times, those online relationships are taken offline. We'll see how molesters stalk their prey. We'll see the kind of methods that they use. So it can happen in person and it can happen online. And the funniest thing is that some children have no idea that they're a victim. They absolutely have no idea. They just think, oh, this uncle likes me, in quotes, and they think they're just receiving affection. But that person is grooming them. That person is just grooming them until they are falling into the trap, and then they can be molested. Now, this is statistics that I took from the CC Yara Foundation. It says 1 in 4 girls have experienced or will experience some form of sexual violence. 1 in 4 girls. Now, we're not saying it doesn't happen to boys. It also happens to boys. 1 in 10 boys will experience some form of sexual violence in their lifetime. 88% of these children know their abusers. 88%. So I want you to keep those figures in mind. Now, these are global statistics taken from the Interpol website. You can see 64 countries are connected to this database that they have. This database that they have has pictures, has videos, and from this, they've been able to trace 23,564 victims. They could identify them. So you can imagine the number of children that are still, that have their images, their videos and things running online that they have not been able to identify. They've been able to identify 10,752 offenders, people that have continued repeated acts, pedophiles, molesters, sexual offenders. They've been able to identify that. And more than 3,800 identified victims in 2019 alone. So this is not an isolated thing. It's happening all over the world. That is why I'm happy we are talking about it here in Nigeria. Now, these are some sexual acts. So online child abuse is a form of child abuse. There are lots of other things that constitute child abuse, but we're going to be focusing on this one because that is what we're looking at. Child sexual exploitation online. You can also call it cyber molestation because it's virtual, it's distanced, it's anonymous. The child is interacting with somebody that is a complete stranger. They don't know who the person is. The person has just presented as, oh, I'm another 14-year-old boy somewhere, or I'm another 16-year-old boy somewhere. And like I said, such abuse may not happen face to face. No, it's not compulsory. That is physical. However, it's possible that this online abuse can result in some other things when they take the relationship online and they move it offline. It can lead to rape. It can lead to sexual assault. It can lead to harassment. It can lead to death. So that's one. We also have grooming, online grooming. Now, most of the time, I like to put online grooming and online predatorship side by side because you're not just grooming a person for fun. There's an end game to grooming. Now, grooming occurs when an adult is using electronic communication, including social media, so WhatsApp, gaming applications, any kind of forum, internet forum that encourages instant messaging. They're using it in a predatory fashion to try and heighten a child's curiosity about sex. You're talking to a 14-year-old and then you're asking, oh, so have you tried this before? What do you think about this? You know, questions. And they try and convince them until there's a physical meeting. And all of these things, like I said, any platform that encourages instant messaging. So they're chatting, they're sexting. That means sending sexual explicit pictures and talking about sex and other types of interaction. So that's grooming. Like I said, you're not just grooming a person for fun. You're a predator. So the grooming leads to online predatorship also, where the person on the other end, you know, becomes a predator. You also have live streaming of child sexual abuse in real time. That means just like we're having this conversation right now, just like we're having this conversation right now, you have people who are actually live streaming a sexual act with a child. You'll be surprised the way people pay millions. They pay a lot of money to actually watch this type of videos. So it happens real time. It involves video, a webcam, you know, things like that. It's happening live, just like we're talking now. That is how the kind of those acts, those sexual acts will be viewed. You also have sextortion, just like you have extortion. So this is when it's like blackmail, and somebody is threatening to distribute your private or sensitive material if you do not provide them a sexual image of yourself, or you do sexual favors for them, or you give them money, just like blackmail, extortion, sextortion. That is also an act under child sexual exploitation. Some other threats that we see under this CSE that we're talking about. I've talked about sexting also. Intentionally, you are sharing sexually explicit messages. You're sharing images. You're sharing self-generated, you know, your images. It may not even necessarily be your images. You'll be surprised that some children, a friend sends them that and they share it. So that's sexting. And then you also have computer or digitally generated child sexual material, abuse material. We're using the term computer or digital now because it is material that is sent, not of a real child, maybe like, you know, a video or something like that, but it's called virtual child pornography. And then you have material where this is real child pornography now, where video, pictures of children engaged in sexual acts. Now, like I said, all ages, there's no child that is immune. There is no child that is immune. There's child pornography as early as 5 months. So you'll be wondering, what is the trigger for a molester that is looking at sexually explicit videos of a 5-month-old child, carrying out sexual acts on a 5-month-old child? So all these things are things that we find, that we see under online child sexual exploitation. Now, what is the role of the internet? Yes, the internet has made the world a global village. It has connected all of us together. Anonymous. You don't know who is on the other end of the computer. I can tell you, oh, my name is Olamide. I'm 12 years old. I'm in GSS 1. This is the school that I go, and I live in Lagos, Nigeria. Now you can see me video, yes, so you know definitely Olamide is not 12 years old. She's definitely not in GSS 1. And she definitely, well, she lives in Lagos, Nigeria. I think that's the only true statement that I've made. But because the internet has made the world a global village, the increased use in social media has allowed for more opportunities for people to come in contact with offenders. It has enabled these offenders to also be able to work anonymously, interact with an increasing number of potential victims, because they just stylishly go into chat rooms, they go to Facebook, WhatsApp, you know, Snapchat, MySpace, even gaming apps. A gaming app that will allow you to interact with another player, they're there. So it has allowed the pool, it has allowed the reach to grow wider for them. The truth of the matter is that the internet is, yes, it's becoming a very dangerous place for children and teenagers whose online attract. That's why it's important. Like I tell people, before you put your child on the internet, you need to have had the internet talk with them from as early as the age of 3. A 3-year-old child, average 3-year-old child, just needs to see your pattern once on your phone or the pin, and they can easily open a smartphone. Everybody knows they know what the YouTube icon looks like, and you know, they just click on the YouTube icon. At the images or at the videos that they are viewing, anything can pop up. Is it appropriate content? Some teenagers are putting up pictures of themselves. Average 14-year-old in Nigeria, you'll be shocked that they're already on Instagram. And they're posting pictures of themselves. They're sharing personal information and giving access to a lot of all these molesters and these predators. So personal information posted online can actually lead to a lot of abductions. I tell people, averagely in Nigeria, 48 hours to plan any kidnapping. Average 48 hours. They just need to go to Instagram, go to Facebook. That's all. You've put up so much information about yourself. So much information about yourself. So it has given them a wider network. These molesters are finding new ways every day, new opportunities to network with each other on how to exploit children. There's a series on Netflix that I watched recently. And you know, these children were in the foster system. And eventually they got a very good home, in quotes. They thought they got a good home, in quotes. And you know, they got there, they showered them with so much gifts. They bought them new toys and everything and told them there was a theater downstairs. Now, children assumed that, oh, they're going to be having a lot of puppet shows and things like that. But do you know what it was? It was for the two of them to perform sexual acts on each other. Their so-called parents will put ads in the newspaper. This is as far back as 1950 or 1940 something. They will put an advert in the paper, Baby Bloom, and ask people to call in or ask people to send in messages. They'll put a time and all of that, and people would come. They would pay money and get access into the theater, and they would sit down and watch these children. So you can imagine if that is was happening far back then, where somebody would just need to put an ad in a newspaper. Imagine what is happening now that the world has become a global village. And unfortunately, in many countries, legislation, law enforcement, even awareness has failed to keep up with it. That is why I'm saying right now, it's not one person can handle. We can't do this alone. Even the entire country can't do it alone. We all have to understand what is going on, the risk that our children face each time they go online, and how, as adults, as experts, as educators, as parents, we can do something about it. Education and awareness remain our strongest tools yet. We'll get to that. Now, how do these guys operate? I've been talking about that. They go to internet venues that are popular with children and adolescents. Friendly websites, friendly apps, Facebook, Instagram, Snapchat, WhatsApp, an ordinary gaming application that will allow you to be able to interact with the other person. That is where they visit. They use it as their directories. And like I've said, the most important thing is sites that enable instant messaging, chat rooms. They use the information that has been publicly provided and information that you have put up, your personal information, your age, where you stay, your likes, your hobbies, to identify their potential targets. So imagine a 14-year-old who is already on Instagram and she's already posting sexually explicit pictures of herself. She's told us she lives in Lagos. She's told us the school she goes to. She's told us her hobbies include photography, traveling, making new friends. That is information that she has provided about herself publicly, that anybody who accesses Instagram can see. She hasn't used any of the privacy settings, so anybody is allowed to view her profile. So these are the kind of profiles that the molesters look for, or the predators look for. That is how they identify their potential targets. And they contact these victims. They use deception. Simple, like I said. I could be, if not that you were watching my video right now, I could be Olamide, 12-year-old GSS1. I could be Olamide, 14-year-old SS1, staying in Victoria Island, Lagos. I could be anything. I could be anybody. You never know who is at the other end of the computer. And then they use deception. They cover up their ages and their sexual intentions. And then they begin to entice unknowing victims into offline meetings. Don't forget that they meet themselves online. Or they begin to use this information to stalk them. I've already told you my name is Olamide, I'm 14 years old. I go to school in Victoria Island. I put the name of my school. Now, a potential predator already knows that. He has my picture, has my school, knows the location of my school. Why won't he stalk me? I've made it so easy. So that's how they operate. So we need to understand these things and their mindset, and how we can ensure that our children don't fall victims. Now, it is our role. Nobody else is going to take that job from us. It is our role as parents, as caregivers, as educators, as professionals, as experts, as a trusted adult for every child that is one way or the other connected to you. Now, it's not only your biological children we're talking about. We're talking about any child that is connected to you. So your children's friends, for instance. Because don't forget, your children will not only access the internet at home. So even if in your mind you think you have put in all the parental controls and everything, what if they step out of the door and they access internet using their friend's tab? What happens then? So it is our role to help the children to navigate between the light and the dark. Just as we did not wait for anybody to ban cars or for an accident to happen before we taught our children how to cross the road, it's very important that we have this conversation with them. It's important for us to have the internet conversation with them. Let them know the risks that are available anytime they go online. If they have an idea of what the risks are, then we teach them the skills. They can recognize the response is coming, and then they know what to do. So we need to teach them. It's very important. It's our role. Nobody else is going to do that job. We just have to do it. Now, we've been talking about all of this. So for prevention, so how do we make that possible? How? Number one, you must create a trusting environment within the home, or you become the trusted adult. So even if you're not a parent, you have a niece, you have a nephew, you have younger ones, you have siblings, you have all of that. You have cousins. You need to learn to become the trusted adult, the adult that a child can come to without fear of judgment. So they can walk up to you easily and say, oh, mommy, somebody sent me this message on WhatsApp. I don't have this number on my contact. In fact, they added me to a group. I have no idea what this group is about. Questions. I tell people, especially parents, no question is out of bounds to your child. It's very important. And I'm happy that if we have educators here, good kudos, good job. I'm happy that schools are beginning to push sex education. It's very important. Public parts, private parts. Nobody is allowed to touch this. They can only touch your hand. They can this, they can that. And they've taught children, scream, shout, say no. Don't touch me there. But if you are the type that is always shouting, yelling, and screaming down at your children, a child can't come to you. That is why emotional power also comes in play. That's why a molester, a 14-year-old girl will meet somebody, or somebody sends her a friend request on Facebook. She's accepted the friend request, and in 1 week she thinks, oh, this person gets me totally. This person understands me the way my mom or my dad doesn't understand me. This person gets me. A 16-year-old is already dreaming of getting married to her soulmate, somebody she just met 14 days ago. That's how we operate. So the emotional part is very important. We need to be friends with our children. Come down to their level. Explain things to them. Even with the use of parental controls, I tell people it's a false security when you've not had the conversation, because your children will access the internet elsewhere. But once you've had the conversation with them, you've sat them down, you've allowed them to understand the risks that are available. Let them know the apps that you're putting. I'm putting these checks and measures in place. It's for your own safety. I need to be able, at the push of this button, my phone will tell me your location. It will tell me where you are. And it's for your own safety. It's because I love you, and I need to be able to know exactly where you are. There's a movie I watched now, I can't remember, and I should share that with you. Oh my goodness. I'm sure before we finish this, I'll remember the title of that movie. Very interesting movie. And it shows the power of having some apps on your child's computer or mobile phone and understanding your child. A father was able to retrace his daughter's steps. She was 16 and she disappeared from home. Now everybody felt, oh, she ran away, she this, she that. But her dad was able to retrace her steps. He went through every possible site that she was on, every networking site that she was on, and he was able to retrace her steps. Even from the simple pictures that she put online, they had left her for dead. She was being molested, yes, and they had left her for dead. She fell down a ditch and they thought she had died. She was there for over 7 days, but because her dad was able to retrace her steps, they found her alive. So that's why some of these things are important. So you let them know. And I tell people, forget it. In Nigeria here, we're so fond of entrusting internet into a child's hand and then we just disappear. We're not supervising and we're not monitoring. It's very important. You must supervise and you must monitor. Now, we must also teach them how to create safe and secure passwords, especially for those who are now using emails because they need to send communication back to their teachers, they need to submit assignments, they need to do research and things like that. They've set up email accounts. It's very important. We also need to teach them how to be able to protect their online privacy. We need to be able to teach them when to share and not to share personal information. Don't forget that in the earlier slides, I had already mentioned that it was because some children publicly gave out so much information about themselves that they became potential targets. So we need to be able to teach them that. We also need to be able to teach them how to post photography responsibly. It's very important. Some children are posting sexually explicit pictures of themselves. Some know, some unknowingly. So it's important. These are ways that we can prevent our children from being potential victims or targets. We also need to be able to protect their system against viruses, malware, things that can lead to phishing, ransomware, and identity theft. Somebody is wondering why we're talking about all of this. Yes, it is important. There are viruses or malware that can take over the webcam of a child's laptop, and then they can spy on a child. So it's very important. That's why you need to teach them that, oh, I've put this in place. It's an antivirus. It's supposed to help you do this, this, and this. We also need to teach them ways to keep all their online activity professional. It's very important not to engage in risky behavior, visiting X-rated sites, talking to complete strangers about sexual related content. It's very important for us to be able to prevent our children from being potential targets or victims. We also need to let them know and understand that there's something called an online presence. There's a permanence of an online presence. When I talk to children, I tell them, whatever goes online stays online. Once it leaves the comfort of your phone, you have no control over it. Yes, you can put up a status on a picture on Instagram and go and delete it. But what happens to other people who have captured that image and are sharing your image as a sexual image? Maybe you posted the picture and then you realize, oh no, this is not too good. I don't think I want my mom or my dad to see this, and then you take it offline. But what happens then? When some other people have already done a screenshot of it and they've already started sharing it, what happens? So we need to teach them to understand that there's a permanence of an online presence. Whatever goes online stays online. We need to encourage them to begin to build a good digital reputation, because digital footprints are there. It's just like putting your feet in the mud or in casted cement, and it freezes over and that's it. It's permanently there. Somebody will find it if they want to. We need to let them know that they should not post or respond to anything when they're emotionally charged up. It's very important. This can lead to the sextortion that I was talking about. Where you've posted something angrily, you responded to somebody's opinion, and you later regret it, you take it back, but unfortunately they have it and they threaten to, I'm going to show your dad or your mom if you don't send me a picture of yourself. I'm going to show this to the school authorities if you don't do this. I'm going to make sure I share this around the neighborhood if you don't come to my house. You know, sextortion. So we need to teach them not to post or respond to anything when they're emotionally charged up. We need to teach them how to secure their profile, your online profile, your presence. I am one of those that advocates that I don't want children to be on any social media platform until they are 16. But this era now has led us to putting more and more children online without supervision, without monitoring. You'll be surprised. Let me share some statistics with you. 20% of Nigerian children already have a social media account. The most popular ones are Facebook, WhatsApp, 61% on WhatsApp, 82% on Facebook, 37% on Instagram, and 11% on Snapchat. Can you just imagine that? Those are current statistics that we have of children who are already online because parents have given them devices. Let me cite an example. There was a case that a friend of ours shared with us on my secondary school platform. She works with one of the telcos, and she was telling us about a 15-plus-year-old girl who went out of the house without telling anybody to go meet her online friends. She took her online relationship. She had just met these people. She took that relationship offline. She didn't know them from anywhere. And she went to meet them without telling anybody where she was going. They abducted her.
Wow.
They started to ask her family for ransom. You know, in between all the begging, you know, the authorities were involved and everything. And, you know, somebody just asked, who are her friends? Oh, we've talked to all her friends. No, do you know all her friends? And we've gone to everybody's house. I'm like, oh, daughter, is she on social media? So, no, she's just 15. She has the only phone we gave her is for emergency. That's what her parents said. Until they pressed one of her very close friends who confessed that, yes, she was on Instagram. What's her name on Instagram? They went to do a search. Her mother almost fainted with the kind of pictures that her daughter was putting up on Instagram. 15 plus. She had just finished secondary school. They were putting on the phone at intervals. That's how my friend got involved. So they started to run a track. They found her after 3 days. But your guess is as good as mine. A 15-year-old girl who had posted sexually explicit pictures on Instagram. What do you think happened to her in those 3 days? As a mother, would you forgive yourself? Knowing that your child had already died a death even before she was 16. There's some things there's some experiences you can never take away from a child. That's the honest truth. Some people never get over experiences like that. Now she began to blame herself. Number one, unsupervised, unmonitored. You had absolutely no idea what your child was doing. There are ways you engage children. You'll be surprised. Averagely, this is a child who doesn't spend so much time on the internet. 3.5 hours. 3.5 hours. But you know now, online school has started. They start school from 8. They finish maybe at about 1 p.m. Some parents don't bother to give them just 1 extra hour to round up assignments and things like that. They leave them for the rest of the day. So all that other time, what is your child doing? What is your child doing online? You have no idea. You need to be able to shut some things down. You are the adult in the house, be the adult. Oh, internet time, this is internet time. No more internet after social time.
Exactly.
Meet their friends on social media. Some parents knowingly even open social media accounts for their children, and then you are not their friend on the sites. Why? You have absolutely no idea who your child is talking to.
Mm-hmm.
There's a story of Kayla, that's her name. There's a link. I put it at the end of this of the presentation. They had to do a story around her. Somebody sent her a message on Facebook, just a message, a complete stranger. And it only took 14 days, just 14 days, for her to be groomed. She left home. She went to meet her so-called the love of her life. By the time she got there, she realized the guy was older. But unfortunately, the emotional part had come into play. Oh, he gets me, understands me. I can talk to him for hours. He's my friend. I trust him. And let me tell you that in 14 days, that entire relationship, from the time he sent her hello on Facebook to the time she was killed, was 14 days.
Wow.
Just 14 days. That's all it took. So see, grooming, predatorship, you can see it. Rape, and then murder, all in 14 days. These things happen. Just in May of this year, it was viral on Twitter. There was a gang, young boys and men, who were blackmailing girls and ladies. You know, they will reach out to them on all the instant messaging sites. They will befriend them, and then they start to ask for nude pictures. And if you were stupid enough to have sent them a nude picture, they start to blackmail you. Because unfortunately, you had given them every necessary information about yourself. They know where you stay, they know the school you go to, they know everything. So you can see sextortion there. You can see sexting. These are the things that we talked about earlier. And they started to blackmail them. This happened in Lagos, Nigeria. So this is not another case from somewhere in the world. It happened here in Lagos in May. They were able to bust the gang because one child was brave enough to speak up. She understood she made the mistake and she went to her parents to say, oh, this is what I did. And they got the authorities involved and they got the gang. So we need to teach them how to secure their profiles. We also need to tell them, there's no need for you to tell the world where you are at all times. Imagine somebody who has started stalking you. And then you are still the one posting in school, at home, in Lekki, in VI, in Bagada, in the Palm Shopping Mall, in this, in that. You've made it very easy for your predator to find you. So we need to teach them that. Don't tell the world where you are at all times. It's nobody's business. The most important people to you, your family members, are the ones who should know where you're going to. It's not general knowledge for everybody. And then I tell teenagers, do a regular search of yourself online. Randomly. I do it at times. So I just put in my name, Google, I hit the search button because I want to see what is out there. Don't forget that from our first, the global statistics that I shared, I said from the database that the Interpol has, they've only been able to identify 23,000 plus victims. What about the millions that are flying out there? You could do a search of yourself, and unfortunately, one of those pictures that you posted randomly has already been sent to an X-rated site, and they're making money off it. Now, don't forget digital footprints. You've left it. You posted the picture, so it's your image. It's your image. It's your name. Imagine at 16, you are doing your A-levels. You're trying to get into a school. You smashed all your exams, and then the school randomly just wants to check. Oh, let's find out if this person is a good fit for our school. And then they go and do a search of you online, and that image is there on a sexually explicit site, an X-rated site, a pornography site. What happens then? So it's important. Let's just see, do a random check, allow your kids to do that, especially when they're hitting their teenage years.
Exactly.
Let's also tell them to be very careful about oversharing too much information. Let's teach them about personal information, very important. From the age of 4, an average child can talk and communicate very well. You tell them what personal information is at that age, and then consistently you begin to build on that. You begin to add layers to that. Your name, mommy's name, daddy's name, your address, your school teacher's name, your class teacher's name. Don't tell anybody. Just like you would tell your child, don't talk to strangers. Physical security. You're telling them, don't talk to strangers when you're online too. It's the same thing. We're bringing the principles that you would apply when they are offline, bring them online. And then let's tell them, don't hang out with the wrong crowd online. When your child understands self-esteem and self-image, they are most likely not to be caught up with the wrong crowd online. Just because their friends are sending nude pictures doesn't make it cool, doesn't make it hip. Your child should be able to say, no, I'm very sorry, I can't do that. That's very wrong. I won't fall for peer pressure. I know who I am. And I won't fall for peer pressure. So it's very important. Let's teach them. So you can imagine they are not hanging out with the wrong crowd online. So definitely they can't be taking those kind of online relationships offline. We push for that too. Don't take your online relationships offline. A friend of a friend of a friend of a friend is still a stranger to you. Oh, but I know Confidence now. She's Jide's friend. Jide and Confidence are friends. You and Confidence are not friends. There's a difference. I had a seminar where I talked to children. I said, okay, so who has the highest number of friends in this school? And you know, guys, it's Jumoke. Look at Jumoke stand up. Oh my God, how many friends do you have? You must be very popular. I know she stood up all smiles and all of that. So how many of these people do you really know? And then she goes blank. So does your mom have your password? She goes blank. Would you like your mom to see what you have posted online? In fact, she was mortified at that statement. So what are we saying? We need to teach them all these things. It's very important. That's how we can prevent it. Education and awareness are our strongest tools yet. We need to keep talking about it. The way you will talk to a 5-year-old is not the way you will talk to a 10-year-old, and not the way you will talk to a 13-year-old. So keep adding layers. Keep adding layers. For instance, if my children go to a friend's house and they want to watch a movie that is 13, my son will talk. He'll say, no, I'm sorry, we're not allowed to watch this. Build it. Like, you know, when we're talking about the music video, I said the lyrics are catchy. You just keep humming it in your mind. And before you know what's happening, subconsciously, you've embedded the message in your head. And you know what it is. So that's how it is. Consistently, we must talk to them about it. And then parents, please, educators, even for those of, you know, educators are sending YouTube links. Oh, go watch this video. You know, we're doing photosynthesis. Go watch this video. Age-appropriate content. It's very important. So let's set up every privacy setting that is available. Is there. The average adult, I'm sure a lot of adults don't even set up, they don't know that Facebook has privacy settings. They don't know that they can restrict the people who see their pictures. So let's set up this settings. It's very important. All the privacy settings are available. Let's set them up. Let's talk to our children. The very first thing on this list is talk. Talk, 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 and engage. You must talk. It's teamwork. So you must talk, you must engage, you must agree. And then you move. Or you manage. We begin to manage everything. Okay, fine. No, oh, no, internet time is off now. Thank you, darling. No, it's not a problem. Blah, blah. Oh, thank you, mommy. I really enjoyed it. Oh, mommy, somebody just sent me this. I don't like it. Okay, fine. Let me see the video. Okay, no. We must talk to your teacher in school about this. XY. That's it. You've created an atmosphere. You've talked. You've engaged your child. They understand the risk and they understand what they need to do. So these are some of the things that we're pushing. Now, bottom line of everything that we've talked about today is cyber safety. That's the bottom line. And why do we think it is important? It's very important because it is a set of guidelines, it's rules that they need to follow when interacting with people or websites or servers on a computer or any internet-enabled device. Most children nowadays have a smartphone. So it's not just a computer or a laptop. Any device that is internet enabled that will allow your child to be able to communicate with somebody else. It's very important because they're making connections with strangers. You don't know, you're playing a game and somebody says hi. It's an interactive game. What's your name? I encourage children, come up with your nicknames, very cool nicknames. If anybody should ask for your name when you're online, give them a nickname. Oh, really? Is that your name? Oh, well, that's why everybody calls me. I'm cool like that. Simple. You don't need to give out the information because you don't know who is on the other side. He may be a 65-year-old man somewhere who is portraying himself as 14, your age. So it's important. so that they understand the risks. They understand, we teach them the skills, and they know what to do when they spot it. When it comes up, no. This is the classic case of cyberbullying, and they shut down their laptop. And why are you not doing your assignment? Oh, mommy, I'm sorry. Somebody just tried to cyberbully me, and I need to shut down my system. Oh, that's very good. We'll talk about it. You need to teach them the skills and teach them avoidance tactics. When somebody begins to hammer so much on talking about things, teach them ways they can avoid it. Teach them the skills. That's what they need. So that's why cyber safety is important. Every single risk that is available to a child online, the bottom line, the foundation is for them to know that what cyber safety is, or online safety, or e-safety, or digital safety, whatever name we want to call it. But that's it. Very, very important. Now, it's not anybody's job, like I said in the beginning. It's a collective responsibility. It's everybody's job. No single state, no single nation can prevent or combat online child sexual exploitation and abuse alone. It is everybody's job. We can't shield the children from technology. We can't. Tech has come to stay. So as much as we're shouting, oh, the internet can be a dangerous place. Oh, there's the dark side of the internet. Oh, there's this. Oh, there's that. Oh, there's the light side of the internet also. There's a positive side of the internet, and the positives really outweigh the negatives. So we can't take technology from children. We can't do that. I've had parents say, no, I won't allow them to go on the internet. I want this, I want that. No, you're restricting your children. They are digital natives. There's nothing we can do about it. They are digital natives. But the idea is to quickly bring them up to speed, convert them from being just digital natives to digital citizens. Once they are digital citizens, they understand all the things that we're talking about. They have a clear idea of what it is. The risks that are involved every time they go online, they can spot it, they know what to do, and we keep building it, layers as they grow older. So not just parents, not just teachers, not just experts, not just professionals, everybody has a role to play, and all of us must do this together. As you've learned something from what we've talked about today, carry the message along. Talk to the child next to you. How do you sense? Are you close enough to sense when you think a child is being exploited? Are you close enough to a child to say, what's happening? No, Bola is coming home with so many expensive gifts. There's some parents who don't give a hoot. They don't care. Their children come home with all manner of things. They are not bothered. You see your average 6-year-old who has recoiled in one corner, a very lively child. You see the child has recoiled in one corner, you're not wondering what's going on, you're not asking. See your child is missing from home so much. She just dropped her school bag now. What's happening? Where is she? Vanished into thin air. And then you're not wondering what's happening. Those are the pointers to look out for. I'm sure we're going to talk about that when we come to question and answer and the answer segment, where we talk about behavior of children who may be undergoing sexual exploitation. So all of us will have a role to play. This is my last slide for the presentation. And I've just listed out a few links to some resources that you may find interesting. And like I told you, I've also put in Kaylee's love story there. It's you just need to watch it. It's very important. When you watch the story, then you understand the mindset of a predator. How a predator works. She just kept spending more and more time online. She stopped coming for family dinners, and things like that. And as a parent, you should be worried. You should know that there's something going on, definitely. Oh, can I be excused, please? Oh, can I be excused, please? Oh, no, I'm still on my phone. I'm still this, I'm still that. You're not monitoring. You're not supervising the child's internet usage. So let's just leave it like at this. We're still going to go into a question and answer session where we break down more of the few ththings that I've talked about. Thank you very much once again. Yes, I hope I have been able to do some justice to this topic.
Thank you so much, Olamide. So we've run out of time.
Wow.
Yeah, so we can only take one question from the audience, and I'll just be asking you one question myself. I think you've already sort of known that I was going to ask you this question. So if you have any question, if I don't get a question from the audience, I'll ask you one more to make it so since we don't have time anymore. So what behaviors would a child that has been abused be likely to exhibit?
Okay, like I was discussing earlier, it depends on the form of abuse and the age of the child.
Okay.
Now, you've seen that for some children, it's physical. You can see the behavior immediately. A once bubbly, active child suddenly goes quiet. Suddenly recoils into their shell. Suddenly doesn't want to go out anymore. You know, things like that. So that is a possible behavioral trend. We've also talked about children who come home with gifts, different types of gifts. They're receiving presents that you know for that age is not appropriate. The child is coming up with like a wristwatch, coming up with a new handbag, new shoes, and things like that.
Okay.
That is also part of it. You can see your child beginning to use language that otherwise they do not use. They begin to copy their friends, street talk, things like that. Obviously, they're getting influence that is coming from somewhere. They begin to spend more and more time outside of the house. They begin to spend more and more time on their smart devices. Those are some of the behavior trends that we see. Now, a few of them even come home and they are under the influence of something. Some children they know that this act is wrong and they don't want to willingly engage in them. So the predator will give them a substance. So there's substance abuse also, where they're taking alcohol, they're taking drugs, they're smoking, things like that. So these are some of the behavioral trends that we begin to see with children who may be experiencing sexual exploitation. Now, don't forget that outside whatever goes online, this child can also be abducted. A child can also be trafficked. So these few behavioral signs are things that as an adult you need to quickly pick up on. Even if they're not exhibiting they've withdrawn, they've done this, they've done that, they can't come to you to talk, you will still notice something like I said, or they're disappearing from home, they're always on their phone, things like that. So those are some of the trends that we see with children who are going through an online form of sexual exploitation.
Okay, so I'll leave it there. Thank you so much, Olamide. This was such a great conversation, and I just left you quite a lot to think about. I mean, personally, I always refer to my son publicly by his nickname. I didn't know that was
fantastic.
Yes, I didn't know. He's just it's very young, and I don't know that I've ever done anything online, even on WhatsApp, where I called his name. It's literally the nickname, and it was sort of like it was my cybersecurity like coming through, but I didn't know that it's actually a strategy.
It is. It's a very strong strategy, very strong one.
And that's really good.
Reinforce the nickname. Let it, reinforce it when it gets to a stage where you understand. Reinforce the nickname. So that's what he uses.
Okay.
Only when it's good, only when it's official, professional, then he uses it. But when he's going to gaming sites or he needs to do something online that is not official, then he uses his nickname. It's a strategy. Very good one.
Right. Thank you so much, Olamide. I wish we had more time, but we'll have to down. We'll be putting out this video on our YouTube channel because we know a lot more people are going to get to see, and this is something that everyone needs to know about. And like I posted the comment earlier, I posted a sticky note. If you need the slides, please send a mail to connect@nogoformaga.org requesting for the slides, and we'll be sharing it. We're happy to share the slides with you. But we'll also put out the video, so look out for that on our YouTube channel. And follow us on social media and share what your thoughts are about this particular webinar. You can tag NoGoForMaga, you can tag Olamide. Olamide, can you share your handles on the chat section just before we run off? Yeah, so they can connect with you. Olamide knows a lot, and so if you have any questions outside of this time and you want to ask her, please connect with her and ask her those questions. She's always open and very enthusiastic about helping parents and caregivers generally protect children. Thank you so much, Olamide, for taking our time to be with us here. We deeply appreciate.
You're welcome.
Bye,
thank you guys.
Everyone.
All right,
Bye.
bye.
Hello?
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 Hello? Hello? I'm calling you from your account. You will lose your account.
My account, okay.
What an idea. Just give me your password, your card number, your card number.
Okay. My card number is 1134566.
No go for my God, no go lose God, oh. Make you no start, don't for your hand, oh. Yeah. See why you're plenty. They wanna do you dirty. They wanna make you envy. They wanna see you flex. No go for my God. Listen, Babylon people wait. You hustle when you grind and they will be hating. They send you fake verificated. They wanna wipe your Instagram for nothing. Protect your email, different password for everything. You download crack software for free. When you know say my guy, you for feed pay. This is risky. Protect your money. No give anybody. Password or OTP. Make them no chop you. No go for my God. No go lose God. Make you no start. Don't for your hand. Yeah. See why you're plenty. They wanna do you dirty. They wanna make you envy. They wanna see you flex. No go for my God.
See my brother no go got calm. If they ask for your CVV, no go drop palm. If anybody tell you say hey I'm calling from the bank, can you send me your PV and make you block calm? Come on back by the world more bill. If they want you pin, tell them no will. NCDC know they share free more nil. Make you no go carry mulatro will or the go bill. Protect your password. Use two factor, make your account no go actor. And make you know they click links that you can't trust. Or you go receive a lot you can't account for. No go for my God.
No go lose God, oh. Make you no start, don't for your hand, oh. Yeah. See why you're plenty. They wanna do you dirty. They wanna make you envy. They wanna see you flex. No go for my God.
I'm a big boy, my God. I get a big job, my God. You want to try me, my God. Like you behind me, my God. Wait first. If you like police, they might get wait first. I dey confess.